Hello, my name is Paul Stevens. I'm a design engineer with Blackstar, and we're here at the 2018 Namm show. I'm just going to show you briefly through the new HT Venue MK2 range. So obviously the Mark 1 range was extremely successful for us, but it was time to look at things, how we could improve them and smarten things up, you know, basically give it a facelift and also improve the electronics, give more features, some of the things that have been asked for over the years and some of the things we wanted to do as well. So first of all, plugged into the 50 watt head. A lot of these controls, the layout would be familiar to previous users, which is totally intentional so that it's not intimidating to anyone that knows the previous range, but there are a lot of things that we've now designed in which make it much more versatile. So we start with this end, obviously input, we have the clean channel. The two voices on here now can be switched in and out with the front panel or with a foot switch, which you couldn't do before. So you can switch from the like shimmery clean sound. It's like nice and bright and clean. It stays clean pretty much all the time. Yeah, that's nice and bright and stays clean. If I switch to the next setting, this is a more of a, if I just use the term British Class A type sound, people will probably guess what I'm talking about. So it adds a little bit of drive into the signal, not too much, but with humbuckers it will break up a little bit and gives you the sparkly top end as well. You can hear it gets more crunch as I turn up, and this will clean up from the guitar as well. So very responsive to the player's touch and to the type of guitar and pickups. So that's the two sounds on the clean channel. You've obviously got a separate EQ on there from the overdrive channel. Actually, I ought to point out that when you switch between voice 1 to voice 2, there's quite a lot of circuit changes that are made. Even though it is a valve preamp, the EQ is actually shifted from one part of the preamp to another, and there are other changes to the overall structure of the gain as well, and EQ, so that it accurately mimics the particular amplifiers that we're trying to sound like. So I move over to the dirty channel now, the overdrive channel. Again, we have two voices on here, voice 1 and voice 2. You can switch it from front panel or from foot switch. So listen to voice 1 first, set these a bit more flat. So as you can hear, there's a kind of medium amount of overdrive, not too much. Obviously completely variable with the gain control anyway, and this is typical with Blackstar designs. Even though there's quite a lot of gain, we try to not have any of the fizziness that sometimes you hear in distortion circuits, and it's one of the keys to the Blackstar sound really, that often that fizziness that you hear with other amplifiers can be really fatiguing on the ear. So we use special filters to shape the tone exactly how we want it to be. Obviously, we also have the full complement of tone controls with the patented ISF control as well, which enables you to blend between the American style EQ and a British style EQ, and anywhere in between. It's really useful for live use and for recording as well. Often the engineers comment on how much difference that can make. So switch over to the higher gain sound now. Actually, I'll give you a bit of an indication of how much it leaps by holding a few notes. Sorry for the bum notes in there, but there you go.
That sounds wicked, mate. That's great.
Yeah, so obviously a load more gain there, and that gain is still only at half, so you've got loads to play with there. Great for fluid lead lines, sweep picking, you know, two-handed tapping, all that kind of the shredding stuff, really, you know. So it can do all these styles. Reverb control, obviously, There's an internal digital reverb, which you can select 2 different types of reverb as well from the rear panel. Master volume. And then we have a new feature, which is the power switch. This is featured on all of the Mark II versions, and it enables you to switch from, in this case, 50 watts, 100% power, down to 10%, in this case, 5 watts. It's one of the things it's a little bit hard to possibly, to maybe show on a video demo, but I'll switch it down. Let's go to clean channel first of all. So that's like the full level. Now we're down at 5 watts. Now that will mean that when you start turning up the master volume a lot more and driving the power amp more, then you'll get the power amp overdrive coming in without too much ear splitting actual volume. Now if I switch from 5 up to 50, that's when you really notice the difference. You can hear that kind of slightly crunchy sound in there. That is all power amp distortion. Then back up to the full sound, where you've got the full headroom then. So that's the basic overview of this front panel.
How are you achieving the power difference between 5 and 50?
I could tell you, but
well, that's why I asked.
It isn't done with loading the speaker.
Is it a soak or
no?
Something more clever.
It's more clever. It is actually turning it from a 50 watt amp into a 5 watt amp by controlling the internal high voltages and biasing and a couple of other things as well. So it's fairly sophisticated. I mean, now that we've been working on it a long time, it seems easy enough. But it was a new circuit, but it's based on our circuit that we used on Series 1, which is the DPR, dynamic power reduction. So it's similar to the way that's done in the way that it's controlling the internal voltages, but obviously it's just switched from one to the other. So that makes it easier to implement into this range. And all of these amps have that feature, switching from full power to 10%. This particular preamp, obviously, as we've gone through, has the 2 channels each with a voice. That is the same preamp that we have on the 40 watt combo, which is the biggest seller of the range. So you've got the same 2 channels with the 2 voices. And then moving up the range, 2 other combos, a 1x12 and a 2x12. This is now where we introduce the 3rd channel. So you've got basically 2 sets of controls for the overdrive channel for the gain and the volume. So even more versatility. You can foot switch between all of these and the voicings. And also as you move up, we have slightly more controls. We have a presence control. And on the bigger one, we have a presence and resonance control. And then that is the same section that we have in the 100 watt head. So same preamp functions as the Stage 60 2x12, except this is 100 watts. So obviously on the power setting we go from 100 down to 10. They more or less have the same kind of rear functionality, give or take some extra speaker connectivity on the bigger head. But basically we have obviously the effects loop with switchable gain. You've got there's filtered output on both a TRS for headphone use, or you can take it out of the XLR as well to connect it straight to a desk. So that's a nice filtered output for putting through the PA or recording with. We have a USB output now which can output 4 channels at once, so you can record with one lead into a digital audio workstation, and you can record your stereo fully processed sound with all the tube valve overdrive plus the reverb in stereo. And also the speaker emulation, or at the same time you can record just the preamp sound, or just the completely dry signal that appears at the input. So that could be used for being processed elsewhere within a mix down, or whatever the person, the producer, or whatever wants to do. So quite sophisticated recording facilities on there as well. And then also, before I forget, we have the foot switches. We have quite sophisticated foot switching available. The simple version is just the 2-way. So this is a TRS jack, so you can control your channels and the voices. Because it's a TRS jack, it means you can also hook that same connector up to a pedal board that can output, well not output, but it can control amplifiers through TRS relay switching, which is quite a popular way of doing it these days. But then we have the really sophisticated 5-way. Now this is really cool because, and actually a lot of people just can't really believe what we've done here because, as you can see, it's just a normal single type jack, mono jack, guitar lead, and we're controlling all of these functions with just a connection like that because this has a brain in it. The main amplifier has a brain and they talk to each other. So this enables you to obviously switch between all the channels. If you hold down each of these channels, it will switch between the voicings, and you can also then it will remember each voicing that you're on when you switch back to that channel. You can switch boost and you can switch reverb. So overall, very sophisticated.
No, it is clever.
For switching, but with a simple connector. You know, we wanted to get away from the big kind of computer type connectors between amplifiers because they're difficult to get hold of if they go wrong. Everyone's got a guitar lead at least, so you can always connect it up.
Yeah, that's genius.
I think that's kind of mostly it with this range. But so yeah, it's the Mark II version of HT Venue. We're getting some great reviews at the moment. Here you can see from Total Guitar, they dared to use the phrase perfect amp. And also a recent poll, they were voted best guitar amp in the world today. That's not my words.
You can't argue with that.
That was a quote from someone else. Took me a bit by surprise as well, but it's like, well, okay.
Take that one, though. Take that.
We'll have that. They're all very nice. So hopefully everyone will be seeing these in their stores soon.
Oh, that's great. It's good to talk to you. Thanks, mate.